Chapter 9. The Government of the USA. The government of the USA has three separate but equal parts: Congress, the President, and the Supreme Court. Women got the vote in 1920, and all Americans can now vote when they are 18. There are some rights that all Americans have by law. For example, the right to speak freely. Congress makes the laws. There are, in fact, two houses of Congress, the Senate and the House of Representatives. There are 100 people in the Senate, 2 from each state, and they are elected for 6 years. There are 435 people in the House of Representatives, and they are elected for 2 years only. The states with more people, like California, have more representatives. States which do not have many people, like Wyoming or Delaware, only have 1 representative. The president is elected by votes from each state. A state has the same number of votes as the number of its representatives and senators. So the states with most people become very important. Florida has 25 votes, and so when just 51% of people in Florida voted for George Bush in 2000, he got all 25 votes from that state. The president is the most important of all the people in the government. Until now the president has always been a man, is the chief of the country, like a king or queen, and he is also the head of the army. He is elected for 4 years, and no one can be president for more than 8 years. He can say no to laws passed by Congress, but Congress can also say no to him, and he chooses the judges for the Supreme Court. He lives and works in the White House in Washington, D.C. The Supreme Court is the most important court in the country and has 9 judges. Their job is to decide what the laws mean. They can also say that Congress has made a law which is wrong, or that the president has done something wrong. As well as the government in Washington, each state has its own government. Laws can be very different from one state to the next. They say very different things about, for example, how old you must be to get married, or to drive a car. Different states punish criminals differently, too. In some states, you must die if you murder someone, but in others, you only go to prison. The island of Puerto Rico in the Caribbean is not a state, but it is not independent either. People from Puerto Rico do not pay American taxes and cannot vote in American elections. There are 2 important political parties: the Republicans and the Democrats. The Republicans want people to work to help themselves, and so they think that taxes should be low. The Democrats think that the government should help the poor, and so it needs taxes. But the difference between the two is not always clear. After the 2000 election, a map showed that the Democrat states were on the northeast and west coasts, and around the Great Lakes in the north. But the Republican states were across the center and in the south of the USA. Americans are happy that they do not have a king or queen, and they say that anyone can become president. But you need a lot of money to tell people about yourself and your ideas, so it is easier to become president if you come from a rich family. The second and sixth presidents, John Adams and John Quincy Adams, were father and son. And in modern times, the Bush family has had 2 presidents. From 1989 to 1993, George Bush was president, and in 2001, his son George W. Bush became president too. At the same time, Jeb Bush, the brother of George W. Bush, was head of the government of Florida. Some other families have also nearly had 2 presidents. President Kennedy's brother Robert hoped to become president, but he was killed in 1968. And many people think that Hillary Clinton will follow her husband Bill. If she does, she will be the first woman president. A president must also be able to speak well to crowds of people. Ronald Reagan, the 40th president, could do this because he used to be an actor. He became head of the government of California in 1967 and was president from 1981 to 1989. Another actor, Arnold Schwarzenegger, also became head of the government of California in 2003. And some people believe that film stars will become successful politicians more often in future.